This isn't a law yet, but this is where dangerous policy begins.
If I'm to assume correctly, because I didn't fully read that, but if this is the same legislation that's in California, this essentially protects the outing of the individual or minor in question, minor meaning under 18, of protection of persecution from their respective parents. Should they choose to transition and or are coming out as such as a under 18 individual. And then it basically prevents the parents from knowing if they're going to start gender affirming care, if I'm correct. Because I know that that's a thing here in California. I think it's very dangerous, not only for the kid, but for the kid's safety, well-being, health, long-term. Also, just like the connection of that they may not have anymore with their respective parent. Should they choose to make such a lifelong decision, such as gender affirming care oriented stuff medically. Not talking about social transition, not talking about all the other types of transitions, which I've come to realize there are several. Medical transition, which you are undergoing puberty blocker, hormone replacement therapy, what have you, has a long-term effect on the body, especially if you are successful in knocking out the puberty in which you are supposed to go through, giving your respective chromosomal gender, sex, whatever that you were born with. I understand there's a difference between gender and sex, yada, yada, yada. It's honestly confusing to try to get them all the terms correct and stuff like that. But quite frankly, you know what I mean. And as a person that has undergone hormone replacement therapy for the past 10 years, subtract about 1.5 years from detransitioning, not by choice, and understanding that process of detransition, it is so traumatizing. And I don't wish that on kids. I don't wish that on anyone under the age of 18, yet they can't get a tattoo, can't drive. But of course, they become a big cash cow, big target for big pharma later down the road because of all the health complications. Fortunately for me, I've not had to undergo too many surgeries. I've only had one, my breast augmentation, which I love my titties. My doctor was a 90210 doctor, Beverly Hills doctor, top of his class, amazing, and I'm very appreciative of the successful surgery. However, it wasn't until years into my transition that I did decide to actually finally make that decision. When I came out as bisexual at 13 going on 14, my mom beat the shit out of me. And later gay, 15, 16, my mom beat the shit out of me. Is that right? No. Do I understand it? Yes. Given the fact that I was an only child and my mom also had some selfish endeavor to wanting to be a grandmother by the time I was like mid-20s or something like that. And she could live up to her mother's sort of standard of living, being the head of the household, yada, yada, yada. Not my problem. My gayism, then transgenderism or transgender decision was all based off causality, which I call a trauma response. There are 2 instances of trauma that was then later catalyzed by my ex-husband. But I'm not going to go into that story. Not yet, at least. Just to recap, it's not safe for kids to transition. This community is very immature, and I'm sorry for speaking for everybody. Not everyone is immature, and I know that. But however, we didn't handle our power that we've had with this platform that we've been given, with this visibility that we've been granted. We didn't utilize that power, that power of influence in a mature way because it bled into the kids. And as per every mental illness that becomes trendy, this is the one that I think is the most detrimental to not only society as the fabric of our societal norms and heteronormatives, if you will, is so fragile. This completely shatters it. The slow integration of this concept has been around for, hundreds of years, whatever. Reintegration of it needs to be a slow process. Similarly, like the homosexual normalization, when the gay rights movement was going on and there was a protest and and then gay rights, gay marriage, that was a thing. That was granted eventually, 4, 5, 6 decades later. Can't just throw this onto people and expect people to kind of respond quickly. You're going to have a lot of backlash, and that's what we're seeing right now. Sorry for the lengthy response, but that's just my opinion.